All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a little while. I have a treat for you today. So this is the first day that Ikoria cards are legal on Magic Online. And so I wanted to try out one of the new champions, this blue-white champion, Yorion. So for those who don't know, this is a new mechanic being introduced in this set. There's a few cards where if you kind of change how your deck is constructed to meet their requirement, you get to cast them once from your sideboard from outside the game. And so Orion's requirement is that I need to have at least 80 cards in my starting deck. And then when it enters play, it can flicker some cards. So this is going to be my take on this sort of archetype. I know a couple other people have been posting their ideas. Some have like Aether Vial, some have more tutor effects. I kind of wanted to just go with a very simple like, all right, play a bunch of cards that come into play, draw a card, and then flicker them with Yorion. So we're going to see how this goes. Not too much special is going on here. I kind of just tried to scale everything up from a 60-card deck about the same, so I'm adding 6 more lands, a couple more cantrips in Preordain, a few more of the come into play, draw a card effects, and then I'm playing 7 forces just because, I just want to scale the ratios up. We'll see if that ends up being too much or too little or, what have you. Yeah, right now there's this red outline around this. It's saying that the deck requirement is not met. I tested it out before. It seems to be just like a moto bug, but it should work when we get into the games. So without further ado, let's see how it goes. So yeah, I'll see you guys in round 1. Bye. All right, we are hopping into round 1. I won the die roll, so I'll play first. This is my champion. So I wonder if the opponent can see that at all. I guess so. I guess that this thing right here is indicating that I have a champion. And they don't have one, so they don't. This hand seems fine. I have Force blue card, have some lands. Hopefully Ponder finds a 3rd land. So yeah, I will keep. Opponent figured it out. I'm sure people are going to take a little bit to get adjusted. Again, this is the first day that the cards are out. I'm going to close that for now. We're nowhere near casting that. I'll cast Ponder. I guess I want all of these. One thing I think is interesting is that I think Uro in general is going to be maybe a little bit harder to cast in this deck just because we are 4 colors and the fact that we are playing 80 cards means that we're less likely to see... I think I just have to force this. See an Arcum's Astrolabe. So it looks like my opponent is probably on Hogak. It's possible it is also blue-black Reanimator. It's tough because I think Swords is a card I would generally want in this matchup, but then I'm fetching away black mana, so I can't cast either of these cards in my hand. So I think I'm just going to have to get rid of it. And there's some tension here because I probably want to play Uro on. Oh, I should have countered this. That was so silly of me. I was thinking this is a kill spell. It's also a counter spell. Uro can get rid of Bridge from Below when it escapes. So we'll have to see if that's relevant. I guess it wouldn't matter too. Oh no, it would have mattered because Bloodghast wouldn't be in play right now. I was foolish on my part. Yeah, this is really, really bad too because now they have just enough to cast an Hogak, even if I counter this. I guess they didn't have it, which is good for me. See what we draw. Well, having a second Uro does make this a little bit easier. You know, I can run out the first one and not really have to worry too much. It's not bad. So that can get us a Trop, and then if we draw any other blue or green source of mana, we can escape it next turn. If not, we have a Decay that we can cast. We'll see. Looks like my opponent doesn't have too much to do. So I could get blue-white and then bounce their Bloodghast or something. I could hold up Decay. I think I want to get blue-white and just bounce something. And then I guess it doesn't matter too much what we leave up. I'll bounce the Bloodghast. Obviously, we don't want to give the Stitcher Supplier another ETB. Oko's reasonable pickup. So I feel like my opponent probably has like another land in hand. Maybe a Vengevine, maybe a Bloodghast. Carrion Feeder is nice for them. Lets them sack their supplier. I'm still only doing one thing per turn, which is a little annoying. I can minus on this Carrion Feeder. They can sack it to itself so I don't draw a card. But that might just be a way to kill the Carrion Feeder. Let's see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially. I could just play Oko. Let's start with Oko and make a food token. We're likely dead to this altar. Let's see. They'd have to mill a lot of cards and not find a bridge from below for that to not be the case. Yeah, all right. I can see this one. Yeah, that's just a tough matchup. There's not much we can do about that. But we do have some stuff we can bring in. Priest is not great. It really only stops Bloodghast and Vengevine, but I think it's probably good enough. Pithing Needle can stop. Can stop the altar, and it can stop Carrion Feeder, but that's about it. Not sure if that's worth it. I guess Teferi is not that great. I think it's just tough being a 4-color deck, but I think Back to Basics can be helpful. Against these sorts of strategies. Decay kind of sucks. They just have so much recursion. All right, let's try this. Hope it's good enough. Obviously, this is a brand new deck for me, so I will certainly have some issues sideboarding. I think this is probably good enough. Plague Engineer helps a lot. And the question is, do we lead with Astrolabe or Ponder? Guess we can just play Astrolabe. And the next turn we can either cast 2 cantrips or cast a Coatl. Probably cantrips are better. It can help us find graveyard hate like surgicals or stuff like that. So I'm going to start with a Brainstorm. Alright, so let's see. We have so many cantrips in our deck that I think 4th land probably won't be necessary. And let's get rid of 1 Astrolabe. And I'm going to hold up the Spell Snare, which might not be correct, but it's what I'm doing. Brutal. Yeah, it's really rough. And they have a Hogak because they're not attacking with this Gravecrawler. Yeah. Alright. I'm not beating that. We're packing it in. It's fine. Alright, well, round one certainly did not go the way we were expecting. I think it kind of highlights some of the problem with playing a larger deck is you're just that much less likely to see your sideboard cards. And especially versus the graveyard strategies, finding your sideboard cards is very impactful. This hand's fine. We have Ponder and Lave to find lands, so I will keep. I wonder if like the champion reveal is doing some weird things to my opponent, like on their client side, just because both my opponents have taken, over a minute and a half to start their first turn, which, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's longer than usual. So we're going to keep the land, we're going to keep the Ponder. Probably have to shuffle away the Uro just because we really need to find a third land. If we find a third land under the Uro, obviously we could consider keeping it. Alright, my opponent casts Ponder off an Underground Sea. It's a little less common. Could be Storm, could be Grixis Delver. A little bit unsure. If it's Grixis Delver, obviously we want the Uro, but our hand is situated pretty good for that matchup right now already. There's our third land. Obviously we're looking for like counter magic in the case that it's Storm, but I think third land is too good to give up. Thoughtseize still does not tell us if it's Grixis Delver or Storm. Or it could be the new combo deck. Forget what it's called. Doomsday. Missing their second land drop and keeping off Ponder, though. Is actually definitely more of a sign towards, a combo deck than a Delver deck. our plan this turn is to either Flashing Coatl or try to drown something, depending on what they do. I think we let this happen. Obviously, we could drown it, but then they potentially just go off anyway. They didn't take the drown last time, so it means they're more likely on a fair deck. And taking swords confirms it. And now we just are in a really good spot where they don't want to play into this drown, but if they don't do anything, we just get to develop our board and our mana. I really don't want to play into days if I can avoid it. I think I just Brainstorm now. Hope to find a third land. Or fourth land, sorry. I actually think Oko's not at its best against these Delva strategies, so I'm going to put that furthest on the bottom. It can certainly be good, and it's definitely great when the opponent doesn't have a board, like in this instance. That's good for us. But I think on average, having a second Teferi would be better. Or all these cards would be better, either or. Gurmag Angler. That lines up very nicely against Drown and a Loch, but there's not much you can do about that. Swords it, hope it resolves. If not, we have a good follow-up in the form of Teferi. I think we're likely to cast Teferi anyway this turn. That's close. Let's see. So we could cast Teferi or we could cast Uro. You know what? Let's fetch first. Okay, so that resolved, which is good. Stifle is a card they play sometimes, so it is nice to see if they have it or not before you decide. I guess Uro is a little bit better against Spell Pierce, which seems to be something the opponent seems to, could have, considering they haven't played many threats in the first 4 turns of the game. Spell Pierce seems to be a card they could easily have access to. So let's lead with Uro. And I think I will Brainstorm in their end step just because I don't mind if it gets dazed, and I would like to find a 5th land so I can play Uro around daze. We'll Brainstorm in response to Pyromancer just so that if it's countered, they don't get an extra token. I'm going to hide the Drown in case they have a 3rd Thoughtseize. I do just want to be able to kill this guy. pass. So they have no cantrips, no Thoughtseize. Definitely feels like some sort of Spell Piercer or Force of Negation type effect. It's actually tough to know what to do here. Because Uro is really bad versus Force of Will. Right, let's lead on Teferi. Well, I'm really happy about that. Obviously, I can't counter anything yet with the Drown on the Loch. Basically, right now, we're just trying to find a window to resolve this Uro. Because I think, the board presence and life gain will easily outpace what my opponent is doing with elemental tokens. So we're absolutely going to try and kill this Pyromancer in their end step, because if they have the days for it, that's just one less card in their hand they could have to counter the Uro. I might as well try to do this now. They could daze, then replay their land and have 3 mana to work with, but again, I'm not too worried about that. What I would rather do is just kind of reduce the amount of options they could possibly have against us, so that the Uro is most likely to resolve. So now, their last 2 cards would have to be Force Blue card. And even if it is, we just get to cast it next turn, huh? Obviously, we would take a good deal, a good chunk of damage. Okay. So that's why my opponent wastelanded in my turn, because they wanted Revolt for this Fatal Push, which is not a card I see very often. All right, so we've still got a game here for sure. I think the answer is to just escape Uro again. Wow. Okay. And we've just never had a chance to convert this Force of Negation into anything. I think if they cast a cantrip, I would consider Force of Negationing it, just so that they can't get a chain going. All right. So we don't have black. We have black or white mana, but not both. So, So it's kind of difficult to decide if I want to play Teferi or this Uro. I think we'll start with Uro. Gaining 3 life is kind of the same as bouncing the Pyromancer. Alright, and let's just play out this Strix. Definitely will look to trade if I'm given the option. Even if it's just with a token. This is nice now because if Strix blocks, I do get to escape Uro next turn. Alright, let's Preordain. Are either of these good here? I think Sevinne's Wreck is okay. Can just buy back, like a Teferi or something. Okay. I think I want to play Teferi. To see what happens, because we can force the Pyromancer on the way down if we need to. Lightning Bolt me. Alright, so I go down to 4, then up to 7. Text me for 5 down to 2. And then I'm at 1 from the Force of Will. I guess I can force this. If he has to take a turn off to replay the Young Pyromancer, I think I'm winning that race still. Let's attack first and then see if we want to play the Oko. I think the answer is yes. So we take 5 down to 4. Yeah, no. We just gotta replay it. Or play the Oko, rather, and make a food. It's fine if their Young Pyromancer resolves. There's also some chance they kill the Teferi, which lets us bring it back with Wreck. Oh wow, they're attacking Oko. That's great for us. So that's our pitch card. So I want to make sure, let's think, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's try to do this first. Oops. So this game was weird. I think that... So I think if we force this, we can't lose to anything. I'm just going to gain some life. I think that this was a strange one where like we just had to fight for the board every single turn, which I guess is not too strange versus Delver. But it never felt like we really got the chance to cast our Yorion. And that is certainly something that might come up where the card might just be like a win more type card, where if you already have the board stabilized and have like 1 or 2 things to blink with it, then you're already winning the game. I don't actually know the answer to that. Either way, it's going to be sweet when we and see look, I wanted to cast it here, but you know, killing all the elementals, it's just better. All right, so Grixis Delver. definitely want the second Veil. I think in general you just want to like really stock up on removal. And I like to trim down on Force of Wills, especially Force Negation. Force Negation is just so bad against them. And let's see, probably one more Fluster Storm over a Force. Let's see. I think against the Grixis version, I want Scavenging Ooze because they often will go long with Cling to Dust or buying back at Painful Truths. So I think that will, in general, be able to get pretty good value. Let's see what we don't want, if anything. Leovold can be slow sometimes. Again, I don't think Oko's that great against them in many games, so I'm gonna leave it like this. All right. Oh, we have 81. Got a couple more card. All right, let's cut the Leovold. I think that on average is just going to eat a Pyroblast or a Lightning Bolt. I guess I should focus on my clock too. I'm down to under 13 minutes for only one game. Definitely a long game and had some really tense spots where, you know, if I played wrong, I could have lost to a lot of their possible holdings. Yes, it is still in my sideboard. Sounds great. I have a feeling Swords is going to get taken. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, so they didn't take that. Yes. All right. So I'm going to start with a Ponder. See what we want. These are all great. I guess I guess Teferi is the least good among these just because it just lines up poorly versus days. So I'm going to go like this. And they can decide what they want to take. I'm probably going to fetch a basic Swamp next turn and cast a Strix. I just had a feeling they had a second Thoughtseize. Just because not taking the Swords just seems very loose. If you're just going to tap out on turn 2 for something. Sure. Now I get to fetch, try to unearth this Baleful Strix, and draw a card. The best 3 words in Magic. Baleful Strix is a little better than Coatl here just because Coatl doesn't quite have Death Touch yet. It's a great draw. We get to fetch a... I'm not sure what we want to fetch. I think it might be best to get a Tundra and a basic forest, just so we have all our colors. Obviously, it's a little bit worse to Wasteland, but I think getting a basic forest and a basic plains just takes us so far off of escaping this Uro that I don't want to do that. So no lands at hand. Which means they might be inclined to daze this Uro, but it's fine. Alright, yeah. So I'm gonna get the basic forest and the look to get the Tundra. I might not want to swords into a daze. We'll see. Yeah, there's probably no reason to do that. It's not like we want to clear the way for something else to play into daze next turn. Our mana is not tight, and we don't have a lot of action anyway. Lily. Oh, no. Alright, well. Let's not make this mistake. I'm going to fetch before I can no longer search my library. I will say I'm not that worried about decking. Alright, so now I think I will swords this Delver. Oh no, because I can't fetch. No, I was thinking I want to play Yorion the next turn, but I can't fetch, so it's not guaranteed. I don't mind quickly killing the idea of quickly killing this Ashiok, which means I would want to turn Strix into an Elk. Because if this Delver flips and they have Lightning Bolt, or if they have Pyroblast, Oko's dying anyway. I don't know how valuable the food is here. I'm just gonna try and kill this Ashiok. I would like to be able to fetch and cast a Yorion to get a 4/5 and draw a card. Alright, Thoughtseize. So I will definitely be firing off the swords now. If they cast Thoughtseize. If not, I'll probably just untap. Yeah. So I'm glad I made this an Elk. And this kind of highlights why Oko's not great against Delver. So they have like a Gurmag Angler here or a Fatal Push. That's going to be bad for me. Oh, that's great for me. So, one forest gone, one island gone. Sure. It's very surprising. I'm going to fetch an upkeep. We'll get a Trop. So let's start by attacking, because if they kill it, obviously we won't want to cast Yorion. You know, right now it plays around Pyroblast, which is nice. But then next turn, I'm just going to cast this Ice-Fang Coatl. We'll let the greed consume me a little bit. Why draw a card today when you could draw 2 cards tomorrow? If you get what I'm saying. That's really annoying, actually, because if I flicker my Strix, it becomes a 1/1 again. Interesting. Becomes a 1/1, but then I can Veil the Lily activation. We'll start by attacking. Alright, let's just... we're not playing this card to not cast it. I think this is worth it. Yeah. Oh! We don't have another white right now. It's really annoying. Whatever. I'll get a second tropical. Sure. So this is going to attack Lily, this is going to attack... Now I could play Teferi and bounce my Yorion. That seems a little slow in the tempo department. So I'm just going to play it and bounce Astrolabe. Could bounce the token so that Teferi stays alive. It didn't matter. Cool. All right. Well, we beat Grixis Delver. It's hard to say how useful Yorion was there. It definitely was nice against the Liliana because it got to threaten it and kill it, and it did cantrip. And you know, honestly, I don't know how well off I would have been against it if I hadn't had Yorion, because I think what would have happened is they would have plussed on Strix, turned it into, you know, a 1/2, and then played Pyromancer and started making tokens to chump block. So it definitely would have been a much harder game without Yorion. So yeah, score 1 for Yorion. All right, we'll be back for round 3.